Okay, we're good.
We're good.
Woohoo!
We're good. It
I don't
works.
see you, but hello.
I'm sorry you don't see. I see you, so that's all fine.
Oh my goodness. We're so excited to come, Christine.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to have you. I was just warbling on about the event and that it was a great opportunity to meet you in person and that you have so much experience in the field and that it's a good opportunity to talk to you and just use your experience and use your knowledge as well at the show and now as well to just talk to someone. Um,
And
yeah.
we're bringing our head customer experience manager too, and she's been with us for so many years and taken so many wonderful couples through the journey. So
Oh,
she'll be
amazing.
able to explain from her standpoint as well.
Yeah.
So we're really excited.
Oh, that's amazing. But
Yeah.
we're not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about you. So please tell us a little bit about yourself. That's always my first question. And then we want to talk about a safe surrogacy in the Ukraine with the war, because a lot of people that think about it are obviously worried, and we understand. So we want to take some of these worries away. But we start with you.
Great. I am the founder of Delivering Dreams. We've been in Ukraine since 2007. We started first in adoption and then moved into surrogacy early on.
Yeah.
I lived in Ukraine for about 20 years. Kiev was my home, and I love it dearly.
Yeah.
Um, we adopted our child from Kharkiv many years ago. The main reason for delivering dreams was, yes, to create amazing families for couples and who are unable to have children all around the world,
Yeah.
but also to really empower Ukrainian women and their families. So both the couples and these women have just an extraordinary transformative experience. Also wanted to do it in a just super ethical, open way so that the couples and the surrogates were able to have contact with each other and really be open with the doctors and open with everyone. So our goal is to have the parents feel as if they're in the room during the appointments and totally up to date with everything, and make sure our surrogates are able to communicate that as well with the parents.
That's amazing. You've this will happen during the whole life. You will say something, and I will say, "But wait a minute, let's talk about this a little bit more." Because
Sure, sure. It's your broadcast now that I finally got on and I finally am visible.
so you said something that I found really interesting, and I think that's something that a lot of people shy away from talking about, which they shouldn't, is that this is a great experience for the Ukrainian women as well, because you're doing it in an ethical way.
Yeah.
Can you maybe say a little bit more
Oh,
about that? Because I think that's such an
absolutely.
important and really, really like just the main point in this whole
Yeah.
journey. And the one probably where people have the most misunderstandings about.
Oh, huge, Christine. I'm so glad you asked, because that is something that more and more families are asking me about, which is
Mm.
just great because it's so important to us. Um,
Yeah.
eh, the most important, well, the myth that has to be dispelled, there's this huge myth
Yeah.
that women do this only because they have no other
Yeah.
choice, that these are very poor women and they're doing this because there's nothing else they can do. And this is totally and absolutely a myth.
Yeah.
Our surrogates have, most of them have master's degrees. They're taking maternity time from work
Yeah.
in engineering jobs. And they are doing this. Yes, they're going to earn 6 times the annual salary, but they're also able to do something amazing.
Yeah.
We have many interviews with surrogates on our YouTube channel, but the one thing they all say is that they know and they love speaking with the parents throughout the pregnancy, because they can
Yeah.
feel and know that this child is so
Mm.
wanted and will be so loved,
Yeah.
that it is just beautiful. and they cry when they tell me this, that this is like something that they choose to do. And so many of them, they all have to have had a child in
Mhm.
Ukraine. They say, Olia put it the most beautifully. She said, my child is my soul.
Yeah.
And she said, I cannot imagine another family not having that opportunity.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing, isn't it? That people just forget that nice people exist in the world and they literally want to do this to help
Yep.
someone else. And
And,
this,
and
yeah, that's always a bit sad, isn't it? That people just ignore that.
yes, and that it's not transactional. They don't want it to be simply a transaction. It's for them
Yeah.
so much more. And they often say when they see the look on their family's face when they meet
Yeah.
them, and when they see the face of the parents looking at their new
Yeah.
child, and most of the time it's in wonder because Christina, you know this, the whole surrogacy is the last
Yeah.
choice. I mean, obviously, most couples would want to have their child naturally. And then most of the people that are coming to us have done IVF, sometimes
Yeah.
it seems like 8 or 9 times.
Yeah.
They've used donors, they've tried everything. So this is what they do last. And we really are successful so they can come into it with confidence. But yes, everyone believes. And the other thing is they believe, if they're this poor, what with poverty would
Yeah.
go not healthy people.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
surrogacy screening and surrogacy testing that we do, you simply cannot be healthy for six months and then do this.
Yeah.
This has to be a life of health.
Yeah.
The tests that we can do, even like it sounds crazy, but like teeth and whatnot, they
Yeah.
would show any past nutritional or health issues.
I think that's
So,
amazing that you bring that up too, because that's obviously another thing. The health screening is so important, and to take that seriously and really do it, because obviously a healthy um, person that delivers the baby, that carries the
mhm,
baby, gives you a healthy chance of it actually working, happening. It's still biology
yeah,
at the end of the day, and
yeah.
every little bit has to be perfect for it, right?
Yeah, and
So
we're really tough on that. I mean, we do a lot more testing than everyone else, and it ends up being truly more expensive
mm,
because we just do everything. I mean, we do PET scans for cancer. I mean, we
yeah,
do every possible thing that we can, absolutely mammograms, everything we could possibly do because, in this process and in any biological process, there's things that we can't control.
yeah, yeah,
And so
definitely.
our goal is to control as much as we can control. And we're very honest with our couples. We believe that's our job. We
Mhm.
represent them. Christine, we're not owned by any clinic or uh, any medical
Yeah,
center. So our job is to represent the client or, our parents
yeah,
and their surrogate. So if we're not happy, we can go to, complain and go to another doctor. We can get a second opinion or we
yeah,
can go somewhere else. But what it also means is that we have no allegiance, if
yeah,
you will, to the
yeah.
clinic and the clinic doctors. So, for example, like we test them right up to transfer day.
Mm,
And we have had times where, the doctor's like, she's 95% there. I would kind of like to see her react like a little bit better before
mm,
we went in, but there's not that much risk. And we say,
yeah,
no, let's change the surrogate because these embryos are precious.
yes,
I mean, you only have so many, and it is not, we believe very, very strongly that it's not worth the risk of trying when there's any potential, well, when there's ever any potential concern, because what's going to happen? They're going to potentially lose, there'll be a higher risk of them having a
yeah.
failed transfer. And that means waiting longer, more
Heartbreak.
finance potentially, and worse, like this huge, yet another emotional
Yeah, yeah.
loss.
And
So
that's the thing. Yeah,
so they've already been through so much of that that we'd rather say, okay, we're not going to do the transfer. We're going to either switch the surrogate on our own cost, or we're going to wait and do another cycle and make sure she responds perfectly to the treatment, to the stimulation. We do the same with our egg donors, the full genetic testing and everything. And we do it, they get, our couples get all the eggs, so, if someone gets 19 eggs or 25, whatever they are, they get them all. A lot of places give only like 8 or 10. And we are, though, very, very, very careful of overstimulation, because if you do that, you'll get a ton of eggs, but they won't be high quality, so you won't get good embryos. But we guarantee 13. If we get less than 13, then we'll do a new donor with compensation and everything on our own, on our own payment. But I wanted to just say that one of the things that we'll do, and it's so easy, I think, for other people not to do this, but we test them again right up to, donation. And you can tell by doing tests and whatnot how successful it's likely to be, how many potential mature eggs she's likely to get. And we have had situations where we've said, oh my goodness, we don't think she'll get more than maybe 6 or 7. And we say, we totally recommend you change her, because, and it would have been so easy. And I think, who knows what other people are doing, but it would have been so easy to just go ahead.
And 6 or 7,
But, it's the cost of changing a donor. It's the cost of, we have to take her, obviously, be very, very careful. We have to treat her so that she's going to be totally healthy in the future. We have to go through the testing and everything else for a new donor. But again, we want to, it's kind of a numbers game, and we want to make sure that every couple gets as many fresh, successful eggs as possible, because if you're starting out with, 6, and most couples, let's be honest, are not in their 20s, so even sperm is going to be, somewhat aged, and that does, as well as eggs will go down in quality. So we want to make sure that we can get as many blastocyst 5-day embryos as possible. And then the chances are, the numbers game is that after the pre-implantation genetic testing, we use next generation screening, which is the most technological advanced way to make sure that the embryos are never damaged. But that will show if there's any abnormalities in the chromosomes, in the embryos. And so it's a numbers game. If you get like 2 embryos, then there's a lot, it's just risky. So we'd much rather have couples get, 6 to 8 healthy embryos, and
then pick,
then have
and then have the nicest one and have the highest chances.
Yes.
And,
and our embryologist also always recommends, which one he thinks is most successful. Although you and I both know there can be a very healthy embryo that doesn't seem to want to attach, and a very poor embryo which decides it's going to be a child.
Exactly. That's the thing that you can't forget with everything of this. It's still biology. Biology sometimes does what it wants to do. That's why it's so important what you described, that you just know the chances, know to play high numbers, know to use best quality, know to do the testing and all of that. And generally testing is something I say all the time, is so important. If it's for surrogacy, if it's for egg donation, or if it's just when you start your fertility journey, get tested, test yourself, test your partner, just to be sure to know where you stand. And that goes on in the process, no matter where you are. Testing is key for everything.
And most of the programs are donor programs, and so we test the husband's sperm, in advance, and we actually spend time with the embryologists and fertility specialists looking at that so we can give feedback to the couple.
That's really good.
But without, we don't, you know, how you have different programs that have different amounts of transfers and whatnot. With us, they don't have to choose a program until after they have their embryos PGD, you know, pre-implantation genetic tested. Because we think it's just unfair because it's like guessing in the dark, because they won't know how many they'll have. They won't know if they're super great or if they're like, so this way they can wait until they have that, and then they'll have the embryo, they'll have the information. Oh, you know, I have 5 super amazing, wonderful embryos, so I probably can get by, you know, I'm going to get pregnant in the first, worst case, second transfer. Or, you know, my embryos are really low quality, so, you know, it might be more risky to do that, and you might want to get several transfer program. But they don't have to make that decision at the beginning, so it ends up saving them a lot of money. For people that kind of feel like they're scared and want to go for a more expensive program.
Well, that's the thing. Money is still an issue for some people, and most people, let's be honest. And I always say you have to make so many decisions. You don't, it's quite hard. It's a hard thing. Like, let's be honest, it's a very difficult thing to make, to have the pressure to make the right decision right at the beginning. So
it's terrible. And we think it's just unfair because, I mean, who can guess how many embryos you're going to get, how many are going to pass genetic testing, and how many are going to be, you know, decent. So
this is, we're not fortune tellers, unfortunately.
But everyone insists that they sign contracts with a choice of program, and we're just like, how can they choose? So you know, we allow them to do that only after they get that done, so that they can really make a more informed decision. Well, make an informed decision, period.
So we've gone completely off topic of what we actually wanted to talk about. But I loved that you explained a bit more about the process, especially about how you do it at Delivering Dreams, because that's quite important, and people need to get to know you and understand. There's one question I want to ask you. No, you go.
Well, I was just going to say, because you mentioned the finances, and this is one of the real reasons people look at Ukraine, other than the fact that the laws are so great, is that there really is a difference in the economics. So you can still look at, you know, the people we use. Like I said, we work with doctors, not the clinics. So we work with the doctors so that if they change to a different practice, you know, they do this in Germany and all countries, we can follow that doctor wherever he or she may go. But this also allows us to do births and you know, different parts of the surrogacy journey in Lviv and in Kiev. And this is especially exciting for German clients because they can do both the birth and the full documentation for their child in Lviv. And a lot of people right now are nervous, and this might segue into our conversation on security, but most of our German clients are coming out and getting their documents in 8 days, not even calendar days, not even business days, from having their child.
That's quite impressive, isn't it?
So it's really in and out. And the slowest part is the German embassy. We have to like knock on their door. And
yes, Germans have their specific times.
I was surprised. I'm always surprised because I find everything in, you know, Germany and generally in Europe runs on time. And
Well, yes, I just wanted to ask one more question before we go into more the safety things, what we actually want to talk about. For people that are watching, I know there's so many information out there, just to be really frank, for what constellation, couple, single is surrogacy in the Ukraine. I think that's also important for someone who's just starting to look into it, to mention that.
Surrogacy in Ukraine, sadly, is only a possibility, legal possibility for couples that are traditional, man and woman. They have to be married, and they have to have some contraindication or reason they can't carry a child. And these can be everything from the medicine you're taking that, a lot of people have to take for some permanent condition, some kind of medicine that prevents them from, in some cases, ever being like stimulated for IVF because of the condition, to the absolute extreme case, which, we do have, is people that have never, were born without a uterus, and everything in between. So unfortunately, it can't be, at this point, singles and same-sex couples can't, and we'll address that in another thing with our Ghana program, which is legal there. But in Ukraine right now, hopefully they'll get more liberal in the future, but at this time, unfortunately, it's not, it's available only for traditional married couples, and they have to be, legally married. But I guess I should go back at what you were asking about the cost and how important that is. And it is. And it's one of the things that is really hard. Couples that come to me a lot of times say there's so little information on websites, and it's hard to know what's included and what's not included. And it's especially hard because none of these people, Christine, have ever done surrogacy before. You're right? So it's like me building a bathroom and opening up the walls and being like, oh, surprise, there's like a nightmare behind here. So what we do is we do it really totally reverse. So we list the kind of the main things that are included in our Annex 1. But what we do is we say these are the only things that are excluded. And so if it isn't on this list, it's included. So that way, whether it's a different medicine or she has to take an IV because she's dehydrated because she's got morning sickness too much, or, whether she has to, go into the hospital for a week just to have an examination and be super cautious, whatever it is, they don't have to worry about it being something extra.
That's quite important because sometimes even if you just go through IVF, the medicine can be quite expensive, and you might not know before.
You can't.
And sometimes, sometimes you think you don't have to take it, but then you do in the end, and that puts it up by quite a big amount. So that's an important part of it.
It really is. And the thing is that, even the doctors, because every human body is so different, there's different medications. They have to take it for longer, for shorter, whatnot. There's different conditions. They have to be treated differently. Everyone needs different special attention. So we don't need one more worry. And it would take an entire book to write the things that are included. So we really just wanted it to be kind of very, very easy and say, here are the 6 things that aren't included. If it's not these, you don't have to think about it.
That's quite good. Because like you said, no one has done this before. I think it's rare that people do it for a second time. Correct me if I'm wrong.
And they do, but even still, like me, the doctors, no one can predict for any specific pregnancy, what's going to happen. Little things can happen, and you just have to take care of it as they come. But you don't want the couples being, oh my God, more money. Oh my God, will this happen? Will this happen? Because I think that's some of them have encountered that already so much through their lives with IVF and with doctors saying, oh, try again, and the numbers just keep going up and up and up.
100%. So so many thoughts on it, but if I talk to you about all of the thoughts now, I never get to ask you what I actually want to ask you.
Let's talk about, I said, the Germans and everyone who comes to pick up their children, you only have to come into the country once. for the Ukrainian programs to welcome your child into the world. But everyone is worried about their security. And given the current situation, I mean, obviously, there's a conflict in Ukraine. The worst part of everything is in the east and southeast.
Okay.
It is a huge country. It's the largest country in Europe.
Yeah.
So there are people say, "Oh my God, nowhere safe. It's dangerous everywhere." We keep our surrogates in small areas outside of cities.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my customer service managers loves to joke that the only thing there that the Russians would have to be interested is cows. So, so there are areas that are just not of any strategic or in any way interesting. And what's amazing, and I think people don't believe this when I say it, but because we've chosen so carefully about our surrogates, most of them have never seen anything about the war except for on TV.
Yeah.
And in the big cities, they have sirens, and the sirens go off even when if there's any activity in Russia or Belarus.
Mm-hmm.
Not even if it's coming into Ukraine, they're gonna do the sirens.
Yeah.
Just out of abundance of caution. Yeah. And a funny story is we had one of our surrogates move to Lviv, closer to birth, and the siren went off, and she called us. She called, the surrogate mother coordinator, and said, "Oh my God, what's happening?" She never heard a siren before. So this is how kind of,
yeah.
safe they are. And we also make sure everyone's always worried about the stress too.
Yeah.
And
Big thing.
yeah, they don't want their child under stress. And this is something that's so important to us. Before we even do medical assessment, we do meet with them, and there are really important characteristics that they have to have. And one of them really is, a calm, like a serenity, and also a huge positivity. And we have really seen that probably the parents are always more agitated and worried, and the surrogates are able to write to them and say, everything's okay. That's one of the great things also about being in contact. I'm so far away from this. Don't worry. I'm safe. Everything's safe.
Yeah.
When they come closer, they have the choice of, it's your choice, the parents, whether they want to go to Kyiv or to Lviv. Most people are choosing Lviv because it's just an hour from Polish border. The doctors and facilities we use are amazing, so you're not never sacrificing any quality. But our job is to keep them super safe. And so we do have contingencies in place. I hate talking about these things, but it's important that everyone know it's the just in case. I don't know if you knew, but like Deutsche Welle and Spiegel, we were highlighted in the most unfortunate part, but before the war started, no one believed it was going to start. No one.
Yeah.
And we moved all our surrogates, all our pregnant and surrogates in stimulation to Lviv. And everyone laughed at us. They said, "Oh my God, you guys are so crazy. It's so expensive. What are you doing?" And then the war, then it really happened.
Yeah.
And when things got threatened to be worse, we actually evacuated everyone to Poland. So that is our model is to be proactive. And as people, all the politicians say, work in abundance of caution. So we do have apartments and residents permanently empty. That sounds funny. In Lviv. So if we needed to move anyone within, 12, 24 hours immediately.
Yeah.
We could get them there. We have amazing care in Slovakia.
Okay.
And then we would move there as well. These hopefully, like I say, this would never be needed,
Yes.
but I want all potential parents to know that we do have those options and we do not take this lightly. Any surrogate that works with delivering treats knows that and agrees contractually that she is willing to move should we or the parents feel it is necessary. And that it is our judgment. And of course, one thing that's also really important is they won't move on their own. With us, we think it's really important that they have both emotional and physical support, someone to help them cook, clean, etc. Yeah. And so they can take anyone they want. So we have people that take their husband and their 3 kids, and we have people that take their mother, and their child. So we really think that it's very important that when we move them in the past, we haven't moved anyone for a very, very long time.
Don't say it too loud.
No. Yes. Knock on wood.
Yes.
But it's really. But even when we move them closer to the birth, they don't stay in dormitories. They have their own apartment. And same thing there. We want them to have their family or friends, someone that's going to be with them. We don't want them to be all on their own.
That's quite.
We move them at work 30. We work week 32.
Okay.
So
I think it's quite good to talk about it. I know it's a topic that we all don't want to hear about it and don't want to control, but you need to have the reassurance and to know there's plans there, there's actions that can be taken. It's all organized and it can be super
and
quick.
I think also, you are aware, and I mean, everyone who's looking at this should be aware that, before the war even started, most of the embassies and consulates evacuated.
Yeah.
So I highly doubt that they would have all come back if they didn't feel that, they could keep their staff safe.
Yeah. I think this is a good opportunity to talk to you in person about this, because some people might have completely different questions to what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
That's
and
fine.
speaking,
I'm not worried about this. I'm actually worried about this. So people should definitely use this opportunity and get in touch with you and ask you all the questions. There's no stupid questions. Just ask them. Because you want to be feeling secure, you want to be feeling reassured, and you want to exactly know what's happening. So always
we help people with logistics because now you can't fly in, so we help them get private cars that they can get from the airport and take directly into Lviv. We help everyone do the logistics so they don't have to worry about that. There's enough excitement and anxiety about becoming a parent that we don't, or they don't need that. But we work with all the embassies. We're in touch with everyone. And I hate to say this, it's like there's an app for that, but they actually do have apps that track any movement and anything that could be a danger, a threat. And so if we feel that there's anything on the way, we alert absolutely everyone. And we only work in facilities and will recommend places to stay where they do have really secure bomb shelters. God, that sounds horrible. But we just, again, out of abundance of caution, we want to make sure not only that they are safe, and we feel they're safe, but that they feel they're safe.
Yeah. I think that's,
and I go there, I spend a month there. I was just there all of October, and I go every 3 months. I go, hopefully I'll go more and more, but we'll have 2 of our team there that live, one of them lives in Lviv permanently, and the other one lives further south and east. So it's a great opportunity also to talk to them about
Yeah.
like, you know, their daily life and what's beyond the pictures.
Yeah. Shall we talk about something positive and then end the call? I want to end this on a
Yay!
positive note, and I might give away a secret, but maybe it's a good secret. So we've talked the other week, and we talked about things that you prepared for people to maybe win at the show.
Yeah.
And you talked about something that I found really cool that I didn't know you had to have. You called it a little baby pack, I think. Do you maybe want
Yeah.
to tell everyone about this?
Yes.
Because I think that's so cute, and
Yes.
I wanted
So,
to mention it.
so we're doing a quiz. If you stop by our booth, we're 300, right?
Yeah.
300. So stop by our booth that we're doing. There's a quiz, of course, electronic quiz. It's just fun about the facts of surrogacy in Ukraine because I think it'll be really enlightening.
Yeah.
And anyone who takes it, we're giving them. You know, for anyone that works with us, there's two things. There's transportation from with a private car and chauffeur from Kharkiv, Krakow, Poland
Yeah.
to Lviv and back. And then, like you said, this cute baby bundle. Okay, so the birth facilities are quite strict. They want the parents to come in with specific things and specific numbers of things, which I know it all sounds kind of crazy. And then it all has to be put in a clear bag. And everyone's like, okay. And so it's, and when they come in, they have to have everything. And it's very, very stressful for our parents. And it's just, so we put together the perfect little baby bundle that has absolutely everything that they need. So now they just don't have to think about. So when they're in Lviv or Kyiv and they get a call going, come to the hospital right now, the baby bundle will be there.
I think this is the best positive note to end this call with. So yeah, stop by the booth, do this little quiz, learn more about surrogacy that you might not know before or haven't thought about before, and have a chance to win this cute little baby bundle because
and the transportation to and from, because I think that's a big issue too.
I think that's the boring part.
Oh, the baby bundle is more sure. Well, we're not sure that you're gonna. We're that confident that you're going to need to use it.
Exactly. Well, the baby bundle is quite cute. The transportation is really important, and both take a big worry away when you're thinking about so many worries, like when you have so many worries already as a parent or becoming a parent and the journey. So yeah, I think it's really cute, and I love that you are so thoughtful and yeah, came up with something so sweet. So thank you for that.
You're
I'm
very
going to invite
welcome.
everyone.
Thanks for taking the time. Sorry about my. Well, you got a good view. You got a good view of outside with snow.
Yeah, exactly. That was worth it. We will see you in Berlin on the 2nd and 3rd of March. Get your tickets, everyone, and we see you soon. Bye.
Bye.